Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well today. Hope your weekend has been great so far. Now, today we're going to finish up our string build, and we're going to put the center serving on. And I'm going to show you the tools you need, and I'm going to show you how to measure and mark your string and how to get that center serving right or in the right position on your bow or your new string whenever you're doing a string build. And a quick shout out to Jackie Sims. Yes, thank you for calling that out in the last video about the center serving not being on the string. And the reason I didn't include that in the video is because it would have stretched the video out too long, and I didn't want to bore you to tears. So with that being said, we're going to go over some materials, we're going to go over the equipment you need, and then we're going to do the best part. We're going to put the center serving on here and finish this string build. So let's get at it. Okay, so to do your center serving on the string, you're going to need some material and you're going to need some tools. You're going to need some center serving or end serving material. I like to use this Flex Evo 15. I get it from Lancaster Archery. This is a 0.019 thickness, and this is a braided Dacron material. It works really well with my 16-strand string builds. You're also going to need a serving tool of some sort. You can get these on Amazon, or you can pick them up at any archery store, really. You're going to need some additional serving material for your nock point. You can use this Brownell, which is a little bit thicker than the Evo, which gives a really good movable nock, or you can use the brass crimp-on nocks if you have those. I don't use the brass crimp-on nocks. I just like to put on with serving material, or you can use some of your string material for that. You're also going to need your ruler for markings on the string. You're going to need your bow square, and you're also going to need a marker of some sort to mark the string where you're going to start and stop with the serving. So let's get this set up, let's get the marks on the string, and then let's start the serving process, and I'll show you how simple that is. Okay, the first thing you need to do is determine where you're going to measure on your string for your start and stop points. Take your bow square, and what you want to do is you want to clip this on your string, like so. Remember, you get the double click here. And you want to look at where this is landing on your shelf. This is going to give you a good reference point. If you can let go of your bow square and it just stops when it hits the shelf material, then you've got it right in the right spot for your center mark on your string. So then you just take your marker, find your center. Now the center is going to be this side of the square lining up with the shelf. Move that just a little, get a little bit more drag on it, and I'm happy with that. And then you just make your mark there. Your square off. Now I like to make a 6-inch or a 6.5-inch length for my center, and what I do is I just take my ruler, put it on 3 here like so, and I just make my marks on my string. I'm gonna do this one at 6.5. That gives you plenty enough room above the nock of the arrow and below the nock of the arrow, whether you're shooting 3 under or tab shooting or anything like that. And also if you're shooting with your thumb, it still works really well for that as well. So now that we have our markings on our string, these are our stop and start points. You want to get your serving tool set up. Any serving tool that you get is going to come with instructions on how to run the thread through this. This one just goes in, around, back, down. I mean, it's confusing at first. It took me a few minutes to get my head around it, but once I did, it works out really well. And it keeps tension on the serving as you're wrapping the string. Now, here's the thing too. We want to keep in mind which way you're going to serve this string. Now, if you're a right-hand shooter like I am, what happens is, I hope you can see this, whenever I'm pulling back the string, you can see that it's twisting the string just a little bit. It just happens. There's no way around that. So what you want to do is wrap the string in the direction that you're pulling, meaning if I'm pulling this way and the string is twisting like this, then I'm going to wrap my string in this direction. And what happens when that center serving's on there, it constantly pulls in on itself. Instead of, if I were to wrap it like this, whenever I'm pulling it, it's going to try to unravel itself. I know that's weird, but I've had it happen to me before whenever I served a string backwards. Okay, so we've got our measurement points. Now we're going to start wrapping this. You want to get a little tension here, and you're just going to start your wraps like so. You're going to make about 1, 2, or 3 on your start point, just initial wraps by hand. just enough to give you a little bit of a bite there. Then you're going to move your string down or your serving material down your string. You can wrap it around. It's not really going to matter that much. And now we're going to continue wrapping around this string. And while you're doing this by hand, you want to make sure that you are getting your wraps correct here. You don't have any crossovers. You don't have any big gaps. You just want to keep doing that for about, I'd say about 5 to 7 wraps is what you're looking to do. And you're capturing that string that you've stretched down, or you're capturing that serving that you've stretched down your string under the wraps. And I'll show you why that's important here in just a moment. I'll just wrap around. Make sure that, again, everything is neat, no gaps. There we go. So I think we're good there. Then you can take your string or your serving material, wrap it down your string again, just kind of secure it off out of the way. And then you want to start with your serving jig. Now you want to get tension on here. You don't want so much tension that it's twisting the string like you see there. So it's a balance, trying to find the right tension. Too much or too little will affect how the serving is actually on your bowstring. Get a little bit more tension there. And that's going to help you control the string jig as it goes down the string. Plus, it helps keep the serving together and tight, keeps you from having crossovers. Now, if you're OCD like me, if I'm not talking while I'm doing this, I'm actually counting the wraps as I go down the string. I don't know why I do that, but every time I serve a string, I do the same thing. So again, you just work your way down the string, making sure that your tension is good on your serving jig. And don't get it too tight. You don't want it. What's going to happen is if you get it too tight, it's going to compress the string a lot. And your nocks are not going to latch onto the center serving as well as if you have just the proper amount of tension, if you will. And this is trial and error. There is no right or wrong way. There is no perfect tension. It's just what works for you. You can see we're going to get closer to that end mark here in just a moment. And if you do this for the first time, it takes a little bit of time just to ensure that you're doing it right. But after you've done it enough, you kind of get the hang of it, and you'll know just by how your string jig spins around if you got the right tension or not. Now we're coming up on the last mark here, our stop point, and we want to make sure that we leave a little gap between the string or the serving and the stop point, and I'll show you why. Again, this is just a process that just takes a little time, and it goes faster than what you think it will. So now we've got a little gap here between the serving and the stop mark. We're going to pull off a little serving. We're going to hold some tension on it, and then we're going to wrap back over. So you pull down, you're going to make a loop, and you're going to go, you're going to go over the string, and you're going to continue with this loop as you go through. You're going to put about 7 to 10 wraps, if you will. And you want to keep these wraps as neat as possible. You're not going to keep them perfect. We're not trying to get perfect on this. Let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do 10, 9, and 10. Then you want to pull a little bit more of your serving material out. You want to set it to the side. Now you want to keep tension here so your string doesn't unravel. Then you're going to set your serving jig off to the side and just put your finger there and pull this down. And then you're going to continue your wraps. You're going to do this by hand. So you want to take some time to make sure that, and this Evo string is going to give me a fit, that you're wrapping tight, no gaps, no crossovers. I'm just going to continue this process down a little bit. And don't worry if it's not perfect, because once you do the final set or final pull through on this, it's going to give you a nice end. While you're going, again, just make sure that everything is lining up. And I really should start wearing my glasses when I do this. coming towards the end here. You can see the string is unwrapping. And as you get to the end, it's going to completely unwrap. And there you go. So as you have this, you want to take your string jig and you're going to pull this serving. You're going to shorten that. You're going to shorten that loop, if you will. Sorry if you can't see this. It's kind of hard to, really need to make a clamp for this. Now, when you get to this point, you want to make sure that this pulls through clean. You don't want to have a big knot there. So take a few minutes, just kind of work it in. Pull it till there's no gaps. And then you just pull it under, just like that. Now what that does is it pulls this part back up under there, so when you cut and burn this end, it's going to create almost like a lock for that serving, if you will. So let's do this. We can get rid of our string jig, so we're not going to use that again. Now you can use whatever you want to. You can take some pliers. You can pull it through by hand if you want to. Just take you want to pull and make sure that these are tight. We don't want to, because this is what's going to hold your serving on your string. So you want to make sure that this is pulled through good and tight and it's secured. And you don't have to pull it so hard that you break the serving. Just again, pull it down snug and then it creates a clean end there. Do the same for this side. Pull through so it's good and secure. Just take and trim your ends. And you want to burn these down. And what that's doing is securing that serving on the string, and it's not going to unravel on you. And that is how you do your center serving for your bowstring. So now we're going to take and do our nocking point. Again, I use Brownell for this. I've had this stuff forever, but it works perfect for these movable nocks. And I want to give a big shout out to Mark Roberts for showing me how to do, or giving me the insight and giving me the instructions on how to do a movable nock. And since that point, I have not done any other type of nock on my strings. Now, to find out where we need to put the nock point, you're going to use your bow square again. And just like you were doing whenever you were setting up your marks for your center serving, you want to clip your bow square on, and it just needs to stop whenever it comes back across the shelf material, which is good there. I'm fine there with that. And then you can set this nock point wherever you want to. I generally set mine at 5/8 of an inch. That works for me. I've tried different heights on nock points, higher, lower. 5/8 seems to be a good happy medium for me, but I mean, you can set it wherever you want to, especially with a movable nock, because once you do that, then it's going to actually be able to adjust as your string is stretching, or if you need to adjust for certain or different arrows, different bows, whatever that is. So I'm going to make my mark at 5/8 of an inch. And you can take your bow square back off at that point. Let's get it out of the way. Then you're going to make your loop for your movable nock. You're just going to lay it on the string and then just pick whichever end you want to. Then you're going to start your wraps. Now you want to be neat with these as well. Again, the cleaner you do at the beginning of the build, the better it turns out for the end result. You just want to make sure you don't have any gaps. Like so. Then you want to take your end, come through your loop, and then you're going to keep your finger there, and you're going to pull that loop through. And what's going to happen is it's going to pull that serving material under itself, like so. You can pull that in pretty snug. It's not going to really matter because you will be able to move it. And then, just like we did before, Don't get too crazy with this, because if you do, it's going to be so tight you won't be able to move it. You just want to make sure that it's snug and secured. I'm going to take skizzers, and we're going to clip that down. We're just going to burn that in so it locks the knock in place. And there you go. You have your movable knock. That is the complete string build. Well, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this string building tutorial in these 2 video sets. And again, I hope I've given you some information that will be helpful to you. Maybe you can share that with somebody else who's just starting out. And let me know in the comments if you have a different way to build strings, or you have a different way to apply serving. I mean, there is no right or wrong way. The only thing you really want to do is just be a little bit meticulous to make sure that it all comes out good in the end. That's the main thing. If your serving is wrapped neat and clean and you don't have any gaps or crossovers, man, you've done a great job. So pat yourself on the back, especially if it's your first string. So again, hope this has helped you. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about this build. Let me know what your thoughts or ideas are. I'm always welcome and open to any ideas that you have and any thoughts that you have when it comes to my video content. But that being said, for all my new subscribers, thank you so much for thinking enough of my content to subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. And for those of you that have been with me for a long time, thank you so much. I really appreciate your continued support. It means the world to me, and it means a lot more than you think it does to me. But that being said, it's always my hope that you guys have a great day, a better day tomorrow, and a wonderful week ahead of you. And until next time.